Hello everyone, Pulse here, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Delving Deep, ESO. Now in today's episode we're going to dial it back a little bit on the class discussion that we're currently doing on the channel right now. Dial it back for a moment at least, and jump into something that's become a rather popular topic among numerous ESO related forums as of late, and that being the announcement of the guild stores and also what appears to be a lack of traditional MMO style auction house. Now I realize this isn't like brand new information or anything, but I'm seeing the discussion about it really ramping up across the internet, and I figured I would jump in as well, give my thoughts and concerns on it. But before we jump into the discussion too deeply, let me start off with some quotes that I've gathered from Zenimax. The first one comes from Paul Sage in a QA session that was posted on MMORPG.com. The question that he had received is, I'm dying to know more about how player-to-player trading works in ESO. How will I buy, sell, or trade with other players? And Paul Sage's answer was in two parts. One, meet someone and doing the normal, hey, let's swap items thing. And then two, you will be able to trade in your guild store. This is a really big thing for us, and part of the reason we allow people to join multiple guilds. We think this is pretty exciting, and we'll have more details on the full system later. And then the second quote I wanted to give you guys, and this is really just to confirm that this is an announcement from multiple sources with multiple answers. This one also comes from MMORPG.com, but this was an interview with Nick Conkle. Now, the question from MMORPG was, okay, so as long as we're talking about community and social interaction, let's talk about something near and dear to my heart, the guild system. Guilds are a very important part of MMOs, always have been, and I've been a guild leader in most every MMO out there at one point or another. Anything you guys are doing to improve or change the guild system as we know it. Now, Nick Conkle's answer, he mentions two things first. First being that you can join multiple guilds, same as Paul Sage was saying, and then he talks about how there's definitely going to be a guild bank, and that's fine. It's not new. He even says so in his answer. But this part of the quote is what is important. Nick Conkle says, finally, we have what we're calling the guild store. It functions a lot like an auction house or an automated self-merchant system. It is a way for guilds to distribute goods to its members without just dumping it into the bank for a free-for-all. You don't have to worry about that one guy coming along and taking it all to sell for gold. If you spent 20 hours out farming this one item for the crafters in the guild, and you just want straight cost for it, this is a way for you to automatically throw it up for others to come in and get it as they need it without you needing to catch them while they're online or go back and forth with in-game mails, etc. We also foresee people forming a sort of market guild, a Costco guild or whatever if you like, where people will join up to buy and sell from each other, or a group of crafters gets together and forms a guild where they can offer anything you may need as crafted items go, you doing your shopping and then dropping back out or whatever. Now, it would seem that this answer to a terrible auction house system comes in the form of their guild store system, which they've kind of mentioned. And the idea is to nullify what would be an auction house that spans the whole of the mega server, because that's been a concern for a lot of people, and it's great to actually see them take this into account. However, this proposed system of a guild store is on many levels going to be much worse in my mind. But let me go into their thinking here. Let me dive into what Zenimax was thinking when they decided to do this guild store system, because it's quite clear what they are trying to achieve with it. What Zenimax is trying to do is simulate a more realistic economic environment and give more control to the player base, which is fine. I must admit that it sounds fantastic. The idea of the player base having substantial control over the flow of goods, services, and money. But ESO isn't the game for this. I believe I mentioned in an episode long ago with the Delving Deep ESO that Elder Scrolls Online is a game that is sticking too close to convention and typical MMO design for such an economy to exist in a way that would actually work. And that logic and that answer still stands for me. It should be said, though, that Zenimax isn't 100% to blame for this, because what they're trying to do is actually kind of heartwarming, and I kind of agree with what they're trying to do. but the problems are going to arise when Elder Scrolls Online gets into the hands of the players, and then those players are going to just really rip into these systems and take advantage. And it's the way that Zenimax is implementing these ideas, which are intended to nullify some concerns, but in doing so, they've really provided a bunch of other concerns instead of actually answering all the questions and concerns that we've given them. Now, before I get really too muddled and just start rambling, let me dive into some things and really get into some points of how this system is going to work and how I feel it's going to affect the economy of Elder Scrolls Online, like I said, when it gets into the hands of the players. Now, let me see here. The first thing I have listed to talk about is, as Paul and Nick both said in their interviews in the QA, it's that you can be in many guilds, even cross-faction. Now, the multiple guild system is a point of contention and argument and discussion anyways, due to the fact that cross-faction spying can and will occur to relay PvP messages in Cyrodiil and whatnot. But this argument against multiple guilds kind of jumps farther than that, because with the economic stuff coming into play, there's another negative mark onto why multiple guilds are not going to work out quite the way they think they are. I mean, the idea of spying in a PvP environment is it's going to be very similar in this, but the idea will be people will be able to do spying across guilds in a way that will affect the economy instead of like a PvP bout. Pretty much what this is going to allow them to do is players are going to be able to join multiple guilds in a way that they can cheat to either economic success or ruining another group, like their competitor, maybe their like rival guild. And it's kind of, I keep saying this, it's Zenimax's take on like a more realistic style, and it's okay, I suppose. It's hard for me to get really mad at Zenimax for this, but the problem is that a realistic take on economics, especially if you're using the current times, this day and age, as your template for how economics are going to go, it should be pretty clear that the real-life world economy sucks massive donkey nuts. I have that written, and I'm gonna say it, goddammit. And it's really one of those things. Why would you want to emulate such a piss-poor economy system into a game? I just don't understand how it's a good idea, and it's kind of baffling. And what really drove this home for me, and why it is going to be a bad idea, is because I actually seen, and this is really terrible to admit about the people following ESO, but I seen quite a few like forum posts on multiple different forums where people are trying to like get people to join in on their guilds, and they're already, before the game has come out, telling people that they want to implement their guild in a way that's going to completely take advantage and just really destroy this economy that Zenimax is trying to give us by taking advantage of this, the guild store, that they're already making guilds that are going to just really fuck with everything. That's the easiest way to say it. I don't understand why people feel the need to do it, and I kind of mentioned that it's not all Zenimax, it's not all on their shoulders here. It's the fact that we as humans feel the need to fuck over our friends, even if it's in a non-reality setting, as in Elder Scrolls Online or any other MMO. The fact remains that there's going to be people that do it, and to be honest, it's probably going to be a lot of people, because if it makes their gaming experience easier, they're not going to have mercy on anyone else. That's how it works. But on to the next point, I suppose. The second thing I have listed to talk about here is that they fairly obviously intend to make the trading experience, especially to fellow guildies, a lot easier. Their logic here is pretty sound, actually, when I gave it some thought. What they're trying to do is eliminate the rather annoying instances that occur, especially like if you're online crafting or running dungeons or what have you, and you're there with some other guildies usually, and you and your teammates need maybe crafting mats or like raid prep items or potions or any of those kinds of things, really. and it just so happens when you're online, for whatever reason, your leader or your officers are not around, or there's nobody with sufficient rank to allow like guild bank access to those items or that tab of items, or maybe they're even just AFK. That happens a lot of times as well, and it just comes down to you're just stuck waiting, or you go on without the item, and then sometimes it's gone by the time you get back, or the person just, you can't get a hold of them for a long time, and it's really an annoying occurrence. And I get what Zenimax is going for. They don't want this kind of waiting around for people thing to happen anymore. The problem is the guild store system is not going to help this by like allowing you to trade to your guildmates for money. In fact, I would really think that the guild store system, if it's implemented the way they seem to be implementing it, it's going to incentivize guildmates to really screw each other over with price gouging or like item hoarding. And I don't know about the super top tier guilds that run like bleeding edge rating content for World First and have their like corporate overlords giving them money to do that stuff. But even in the hardcore guilds that I've run along with, and I've never been like super top tier and on TV because I beat a boss in like a couple hours of its release or anything, but I've been in some pretty hardcore guilds, and it's 99% of the time has been this sort of camaraderie where if you have an item or a set of items or mats or what have you, you pass it along for free or very low price, and that's if someone needs it and they're your guild or your friend and they have sufficient use for it, and they can really justify what they're going to do with it. And then you just expect similar treatment for yourself when the roles are reversed. Like if you need something, those people that you've given to and your guildmates, they're also going to provide you with that friendliness and that gifting, really. And this system where you no longer hand the item over, and you just rely on the store to take care of the pricing and everything, and it's just going to eliminate that idea. And in all honesty, I foresee this part of the guild store causing regular arguments. I just really foresee people coming into the guild store, and even if it's their main guild, and they're utilizing the guild store system, and you're trying to trade goods and stuff, and you'll have a couple people maybe think the item is worth this much, or they think it's this much, and you just have arguments over pricing within a guild. That's awful, and it's really going to kill the overall friendliness of it all. I mean, I just don't get it. Where's the friendliness at? Where's the camaraderie? Where's the sense of guilds being people you do stuff with, and you enjoy their company, and you all get along, and you all do content together, and you fairly regularly enjoy each other's company. I don't get it. It'll be all gone. I really foresee this being just all gone. I mean, this is an example I had in my head, right? You go, hey, I'm a crafter, guild leader man, and I know you guys have a ton of such and such crafting material available. Can I get some of that out? I'm trying to level, or what have you, and I'll put it to good use, and then whatever I make, I'll throw right back into the guild for you guys to use. And then I'll just keep making stuff. Can I have access to that stuff? And you're just gonna get a nope. Everything you need is right there on the guild store. It's already been settled. Everything's priced just the way you want it, cheap as you can get. Right? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And then you're just gonna have to pony up and pay for it, or farm it out yourself. And this is the part where I know some of you must be thinking, well, Pulse, not every guild is going to implement the guild store in this way. They're not going to utilize it in this fashion. And you're absolutely right. There are some guilds that won't do this. And in fact, I'm somebody that if they did do this, I wouldn't be able to be in their guild. The problem is that because the system is implemented in a way that people can take advantage, people will take advantage. It's simply the way the world works, even if that world is fantasy and not real in the same sense of real life. And it's sad, really, but it's the truth, and it's something we just kind of have to accept. Kind of what I was talking about with the first point about how people are going to spy on other guilds. in PvP. They're going to do that anyway. It doesn't matter if the game allowed them to or not. They're going to do it in Vent. Or the idea that you're going to screw over your teammates because you affect the market of your guild, not just people outside of your guild. That's going to happen too. Just because the system facilitates such negativeness, it's going to happen. It's the nature of the human, really. But let's get on to the third point I wanted to talk about. They make it pretty clear in both of these interviews that they want guilds to have this choice and potential to really turn themselves into businesses or markets, and they even name like Costco as an example from Nick Conkle. And what they say they want to do is they want people to join guilds to do their shopping as well. Now, I'm sorry, but what was that last part? Do my eyes deceive me? Am I reading something wrong? I honestly read this a couple times. The thing is, they want me to drop out of one guild, or leave an extra guild slot open, just so that I can join another one to trade. Now, they said they want to make it easier to trade, right? I went over that in the second point. That's one of their big, like, totem poles. That's what they're like building on. That's their pillar for one of the reasons they're doing this. But how in the hell is this less annoying than any other AH system that's ever been implemented? Ever. I can't think of too many that have probably done it worse. And I swear this is the part where I just start thinking to myself, wow, Zenimax has a lovely tendency of saying how they're going to change one thing for the better, and then their answer to that is a mechanic or an implementation that's going to do something that completely negates or even reverses that very logic, and it's ridiculous. Let's make it easier by making you leave one guild and have 5 guild slots open, and you have to have one of those all the time so you can trade outside of your main guild. Who said that? Who, during their discussion of how to implement this, thought that was a good idea? I don't get it. Oh my goodness, just thinking about it, it makes me a little bit aggravated, because between this video and a couple other ones I put out on ESO, it's a game I'm extremely excited about, but some of the things that come out of their brain and they tell us are going to be in the game, they don't make sense. I don't know what the hell they're thinking sometimes. Oh my goodness. But let me just continue on. I'm getting distracted and ranty here. But more importantly than this fact that you're going to have to drop guilds or join guilds and jump through any hoops that those guilds are going to make you do. Hell, I foresee guilds like, well, to trade here, you're going to have to pay a like Sam's Club style subscription fee or membership to shop here. So yeah, that's how you join our guild. But you'll get cheap prices. It's worth it. I foresee that happening and stupid shit like that with this system. But beyond that, even more is this part where they say they want guilds to be businesses, right? And that kind of links with what I'm saying, that they can turn it into real businesses in the same way, like I said, a Sam's Club membership thing. And I don't really understand what they're going for. I mean, I do understand what they're trying to emulate here, but I don't know what the hell they're thinking in terms of the game that they're creating. I mean, they want the crafters and the AH players to have a real incentive to join or create a guild, right? That's obviously what they're going for. They want to use this idea of players owning businesses to provide a more realistic and fulfilling economy in Elder Scrolls. That's fine. That's obviously what they're trying to do. But damn it, this is not how to do it. Oh, my God. I mean, MMO economies, like, just to make it very clear to people who maybe don't play MMOs, MMO economies are run by the AH players and the people that just have way too much free time, and the large guilds that commit ludicrous amounts of play hour time. These are the people and the groups of people that just rule MMO economies to the point that it becomes, especially like late in a lifetime or after a while, you'll see guilds that they've really figured out the system and the way that the economy is working, and they just really take advantage of it. And that's how it's going to be. The problem is, they've decided, well, these guys they're gonna rule the economy anyway. There's usually stuff standing in their way to make it completely controllable. But you know what? Let's remove the normal AH that allows sometimes the little guy can undercut and get in every now and then, and they'll be okay. Instead, let's make it so that they have to use a guild store and give them all these tools they need to expand their economic prowess and control to huge chunks of the economy with this guild store as their platform to really price gouge and all around harass small guilds, solo players, and the people that can't commit tremendous amounts of free time to actually playing the game. And it kind of brings me back to this argument. ESO is not a reality, okay? Most of their mechanics are also steeped in previous MMO mechanics and conventions, pretty heavily actually. And what Zenimax has done is they're trying to give us this sense of reality in the economic fields, but there's not enough changes in the game as a whole to properly facilitate this more realistic economy that they're trying to give us. And to be completely frank here, what makes them think that players won't abuse this system in pretty much every way possible, what is that? What part of their brain says the player base isn't going to abuse this if we allow them to? What logic is being used to justify emulating realistic economics, especially because they're doing it in a way that is absolutely going to emulate real-life economics, like in this fantasy setting. It obviously won't be quite as complicated. There's no stock trading and all of this garbage, but the idea still remains that it's going to be realistic. But I don't get it. I don't understand why you would want that. Why the hell would you want to emulate real-life economics that are they obviously don't work in real life because our world economy sucks dick, as I mentioned earlier. I don't understand the logic in their solutions that they're calling. They're saying these are our solutions to these problems, but they're not solutions at all. They're just a different form of problem. I don't get it. I don't get it. I really hope that we get to the beta and it's either one of two things: that their communication is just really that bad. I've mentioned a couple times that the consistency between information between different interviewers is just, it's been really off and on. They just really rocky and they don't have consistency there. So maybe that's one thing. Maybe they're not communicating well what it is they're trying to do with the system, and it could be completely different, and it'll just be like an extra thing on the side for guilds to do instead of an actual age. But that doesn't seem to be the case. So I'm hoping it's communication and there's something there. Or even better, in my opinion, would be they're listening really hard, and their communication hasn't been as bad as we think it is. And instead, they're just kind of throwing these ideas out there and getting our reactions, and then they fully intend to tweak these, that they have the resources, and they've already set themselves up with a template of like all of their systems, and they can change them much quicker than I would expect them to. Maybe that's what they're going for. They just intend to get all of our immediate reactions, and seeing as this one is mostly negative, maybe they already had it in place too. Well, if it goes negative, we're going to change it to these, and then we'll throw that back out there and see what happens. Maybe that's what they're going for. That's mostly what I'm hoping for, to be honest, is they just have systems in place to very easily tweak these to a point of acceptable. But anyways, guys, this is going to do it for me. I honestly could go on and on ranty style for a while, going in circles. I hope you enjoyed, or at least found this discussion at least a little bit informative or engaging. And I'd like to thank you guys very much for watching. I'd very much like a thumbs up, a subscribe, a comment down below on really much anything related to gaming or Elder Scrolls Online or whatever, really. And in fact, on the topic of the comments, let me know what you guys think about this guild store system, and definitely let me know if I've just like completely missed something that's out there on the interwebs that I just completely missed. And it changes my whole perception of guild stores. Let me know if I've made some errors in my judgment, or my logic is broken, or like I said, if there's some details I'm just not grasping here. But guys, this has been Pulse. I'd like to thank you guys again for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.